Hi, my name is Wenjie Shen. I'm a language teacher and a graduate student. One question has stayed with me lately is that why can the same technology lead to very different policies in different educational settings? As someone who worked in education in China for several years and is now studying in Canada, I've seen new technologies introduced with very similar promises. We're told they will improve learning, increase efficiency, or solve educational problems. But I started to notice something interesting. The technology was often the same, but the responses to it were very different. Educational technology is often described using words such as innovation, transformation, or something like disruption. These words may sound positive, but they already contain assumptions about what technology is supposed to do. That led me to a simple question. What problem are we actually trying to solve? Sometimes technology is presented as the solution before the educational problem is clearly understood. A new technology does not automatically improve education. People still need to decide what the technology means, how it should be used, and whether it belongs in a particular educational context. AI is a useful example. Some people see AI as a powerful learning tool. Others see it as a threat to academic integrity. The technology itself has not changed. What changes is how people interpret it. And when people interpret the same technology differently, they often support different policies. This is where the idea of the fear heuristic helped me think differently. Instead of asking whether a fear is reasonable or unreasonable, it asks why some fears receive more attention than others. When an AI is discussed, concerns about cheating often dominate the conversation. Those concerns are important, but at the same time, other questions may receive less attention, such as how students can learn to use these tools responsibly or how schools can support critical thinking in an AI-rich environment. This is where technology becomes more than a technical issue, it becomes a leadership issue. Educational leaders do not simply identify risks. They decide how institutions respond to those risks. And that led me to another question. Who gets to decide? Who decides whether AI should be allowed in classrooms? Who decides what counts as appropriate use? Who decides which concerns matter most? The more I considered these questions, the more I began to see policy as the result of leadership decisions rather than simply a response to technology. AI provides a useful example. Some institutions focus primarily on academic integrity and accountability. Others place great emphasis on digital literacy and preparing students for future workplaces. The technology is still exactly the same. What differs are the values guiding the response. I've seen similar conversations in different educational contexts. When I worked in education in China, new technologies were often introduced with promises of improving teaching and learning, but very quickly, the discussion shifted toward student performance, responsibility, and classroom management. Now, as a graduate student in Canada, I continue to hear many of the same concerns. Conversations about new technologies often focus on accountability, expectations, trust, and appropriate use. Despite the differences between these educational contexts, the discussions sound surprisingly similar. The technology was rarely the only issue being discussed. The conversations were often about what should be valued in education and how learning should be supported, monitored, or assessed. This led me to think more carefully about that. Although many of the concerns were similar, the responses were not always the same. Some institutions respond with stricter rules, while others focused more on helping students learn how to use new technologies responsibly. Maybe the most important question is not whether a technology is good or bad. Maybe the more important question is why we respond to the same technology in such different ways. The technology may be the same, but the values guiding the responses are not. Thank you for listening.